So Andrew gave us the directive to start at 9:19, and my watch suggests that that's where we are. So Andrew, I'm not sure if you're back yet, but let me say a couple words of intro about this upcoming presentation, since I've been working closely with this team, with Flavio for a little bit, and Mike Rovine has been as well. So just linking this a little bit to what's been going on for the rest of the day, the presentation we're about to hear takes our work into another arena, the online arena, explicitly connecting some of the ideas from the morning and yesterday to an app that Joel and Ryall will talk to us about. So Andrew, that was just my intro to them. You can do the hosting from here.
Sure. So, welcome to this next topic block. Um, I think what's really going to be taking this work to another level is that there are now tools, digital tools being developed that can monitor, research, analyze possibility development in action. And so we're going to be hearing from a few talented entrepreneurs this morning that are doing that kind of work with us. So we'll hand it over.
Great. Well, first I want to thank the team at Penn GSE for coordinating this amazing conference and including us in the program. We're honored and privileged to be here among all of you and all the amazing work that you guys are doing around possibility development. So like I said, I'm Ryall, one of the co-founders of Possible Me. We were formerly CR Score. As of a couple days ago, we were CR Score. So this is a new branding change that's been in the works for a little while. And I'm here to share with you some of the work that we've been doing with Mike Knuckla, Flavio, Mike Rovine, and it's around college readiness, right? And so why are we here? Joel, the next slide. It's because the need for college mentorship has never been greater. The inequality and access gap has never been larger. For the fortunate few, college process happens either formally, they might pay up to $500 an hour for coaching, or informally through conversations with their family members. But for most students, the infrastructure, the support, the scaffolding just doesn't exist. So by the time they get to the end of high school, it's too late. In fact, the average student only gets about 20 minutes of counseling around college in their lifetime. And most of them, their first interaction with a counselor happens in the 11th grade, which for a lot of students is too late. And even worse, 50% of low-income students have no access to college readiness counseling at all. And unfortunately, when COVID hit, it only made matters a lot worse. So that's why at Possible Me, we are committed, Joel, the next slide, yeah, to making evidence-based college readiness mentorship equitable and affordable for all of America's 50,000 middle and high schools. And we do this by starting with students as early as 6th grade. Next slide. Where students get to download the Possible Me app and go through the steps of possibility development, which at this point, we all know. And by using the app, the students are able to explore and prioritize their interests, create and work their plan, and assess their progress, but also mentors are able to assess their progress as well. But what I've described so far, you might have you wondering, what we all know about possibility development framework. So what are we bringing to the table? What is new about our approach? Well, in the past, when one thought about the desire to implement possibility development on a truly wide scale, it's been inhibited by a number of factors. Could be the number of trained professionals, the amount of time these professionals need in order to interact with the mentees, the cost of a program like this, especially given the shrinking school district budgets, and lastly, the potential lack of agency and empowerment students might have in the process. They might be limited to the amount of time and the time frame that they have to spend with the mentors. So some of these are just some of the barriers to why having possibility development implemented at a wide scale has been inhibited. So that's where we're really excited about the work that we've been doing Joel, to the next slide, with Mike and his team, where we're able to take possibility development and digitize it into a scalable AI gamified app. So, and then combining that with a SaaS school mentor dashboard, it allows us to provide possibility development on a much wider scale. So now students can get badges for exploring their interests and choosing and prioritizing their goals around college. They can then create a digital plan through the app, and then we're able to deliver personalized recommendations that help them reach their goals. And students can earn points when they do activities, and this will help them towards that ultimate goal of going into college. And they get to compete against other students in their school and have their school compete against other schools in terms of their college readiness. So at this point, I think I'm going to turn it over to Joel, the co-founder of Possible.me, to do a live demo, which can also be scary because it's live. And so you guys will see the app in action. So Joel, why don't you go ahead?
Perfect. Thanks, Ryall. So I'm going to give you a little bit of tour of what this looks like in action. What you're staring at is what the first screen that a student, a middle school student, would see after they signed up. And the sign up process takes about a minute. For the most part, our students are using their phones, and they'll use this as an app, and it looks like this. But for the purpose of a Zoom presentation, I show the web version because the ratio matches the screen of your desktop. So as a student comes into the app, the first thing that they're going to do is interest exploration. And they're going to do that interest exploration around college readiness. And so, for example, we might talk to them about the different levels of selectivity of colleges. What we find when we talk to middle school students is that there's this cultural idea that college is really just the Ivy League schools and that it's only for a certain type of students. And so they learn right off the bat that there are 2,000 colleges in the US that you can get into just by graduating high school. And that there are different levels of selectivity that offer different benefits. And so students will explore those levels of selectivity. And once they've done that, they'll come into the app, they'll click on this check mark, and they'll sort of say, you know what, I think I want to go to a somewhat competitive school. So what we want them to do is to start imagining the type of college or the college that they want to go to and what they might want to do at college and what they might want to accomplish in middle school and high school to help get them to that goal. So as they go through, they'll answer a number of questions and explore a number of dimensions and start to build out their plan. So let's do one more. So here they're doing exploration around extracurricular activities. And here students get to see that there is a breadth of extracurricular activities that they can do in high school, but also at college, right? There's like an anime club at college that they may be interested in. And again, that college is not just a narrow idea, but there's a broad set of possibilities. And they'll choose, you know what, I think that I'm interested in extracurricular activities around social activism. And so they'll choose that. And I won't go through all the interest exploration. There are 8 dimensions that we have them go through. But each time they sort of build out their interests, they get a badge, and that's part of the gamification of the app. And once they've finished the interest exploration, they have a plan. And what's nice about this plan is it is dynamic. We don't expect, of course, a 12-year-old to have a plan set in stone. They can come back and iterate over that plan. But once they have their plan, what happens is on the back end, we deliver, using algorithms and AI, personalized recommendations to help them reach their goal. And so those recommendations might just be things like motivational quotes or statistics around college. But for example, if there's a student who's struggling academically, we might just suggest that they sit at the front of the class for the next 2 weeks, because we know sitting at the front of the class leads to increased GPA. And so those are the types of personal recommendations that we can deliver to students. And every week they'll get 1 or 2 new recommendations that automatically come into the app. We also have recommendations around health and wellness, just basic health and wellness advice, things like don't forget to eat breakfast, or that volunteering has actually been shown to improve both your physical and mental health. And so some they go to do these recommendations. Some of them are activities, so we want them to come into our college fit finder and explore the universe of 5,700 colleges that exist in the United States. And so they can do that, and now that they've explored their interest, they might know that they want to go to a small public school, for example. They might also want to know that the field or the academic field that they are interested in, or they might know that they want to go to HBCU or a religious-based institution. And so they can dive into all of these colleges as they've gone through and filtered them. And they can find out more information about each college, right? So they can click in and they can learn what the demographics are like at the school, what the average cost would be, not only average cost, but by their family income. They can look at what the demographics look like at that school. They can click through and do a virtual college tour and now really start imagining themselves on campus. So the last thing I think I'll show you is that, well, two things. One, we really tried to gamify it, and we've started to do that. So the students get points for every activity through the app. And then there's also a leaderboard, right? So they can it's fun. Their school can compete against other schools in their district, and they can compete amongst their classmates to get points within the app. And we know how powerful gamification can be as a tool. There's also a companion product for counselors to help them monitor the progress of their students. And so this is the counselor view of the same product that I just showed you. And so now counselors can see what schools that their students have chosen, how active they are in the app, but they can also collaborate with students. So they can click in, and this is a live student at a middle school in New Jersey, and we can see what schools she saved to her list as the counselor, but also we can go in. So here's the schools that she saved, and we can also go in and make recommendations for her. So if I think that Lily might like, the University Southern New Hampshire, I can recommend that as the counselor. And the last thing we did is we enabled counselors to meet students where they are, and I think this is really important. Students, of course, are tied to their phone, as we all are. They never or hardly ever look at email. And so students can message through the app. Counselors can message students through the app, and it'll go right to their phones, which is really a powerful tool for counselors. So I think I will end there and hand it back over to Ryall, who will continue the presentation right here.
Actually, you can go to the next slide. Yep. Keep going. One more. We talked about that. Yep. Okay. So we're currently live with Possible.me in multiple schools this summer, and we're working with Mike and his team to study how we can continually improve the app over time. And to that end, there are a couple things that we're excited about exploring as we move forward. And as Joel showed you, the ability to monitor students live in real time can be really powerful. And we've started talking with Flavio and Dr. Nuccola about the idea of, could we create like an early warning system where if a student who needs extra special help is identified early, and through doing some kind of video intervention, the student can get the resources that they need that might not be available at that school. They're able to get that one-on-one counseling, and we can give those who need the most help that help, and be able to, the students who might not need as much help, and the app is a great resource for them. They don't necessarily need that extra intervention, and maybe there's a way of us being able to give the right resources at the right time to the right students, but while at the same time kind of minimizing all the work and effort that needs to go into it. And then Joel, the next slide. As Andy mentioned yesterday in his presentation, there's some interesting work around the peer-to-peer and ability to support one another. So we're excited about the chance to potentially create some kind of peer-to-peer support network within the app. So allowing similarly focused students to encourage and motivate each other, either through their actions and achievements, or just simply words of encouragement and helping the students move towards their goals. And then the last part that I'm going to talk about is just kind of, as you can imagine, while we're digitizing this process, there's a lot of potential data for us to analyze and study. So for example, we can study user engagement, how many times they're coming into the app, the number of activities they're completing. Joel, the next one, we can study the the adoption of possibility development in a student's life or towards college readiness, and how is this having an impact on the students. Next one. We can also study the digitization of possibility development and what kind of cost reductions are there? What kind of increases can we see in terms of students that can be supported through this kind of process? Next one. And lastly, we can kind of study the effectiveness of this modality in comparison to other possibility development programs. Can it be used as a standalone, or is it more effective as a supplemental tool? So as you can see, we hope to keep a lot of the Penn GSE researchers busy over the next couple of years. And the last thing I want to talk about is, you know, the work we're doing, we hope, is just in its infancy. We're really excited about all the possibilities, pun intended, that are out there based off of this infrastructure that we've built out. Whether it's bringing college readiness internationally, which I know is a big passion point for Flavio, or helping college students or grad students in their career readiness. So adapting kind of this framework and using it for other goals that people might have, or even using this infrastructure for youth or adults. It could be around the stuff that we talked about was talked about this morning, and how can we do this in a corporate environment and have this possibility framework used in a digital app to help people in their career goals. So we're excited to talk to anybody who wants to, you know, brainstorm some ideas. And again, we're just very thankful for the opportunity to present, and excited to talk to everybody here at the conference. So thanks again.